Factorising linear expressions. Now if we put a bracket into our expression, we are said to be factorising it. So in the previous video we looked at 3 and then in brackets x minus 5, and we expanded it to get 3x minus 15. We took the brackets out. If we go the other way, and we have 3x minus 15, to get to 3 and then in brackets x minus 5, we are said to be factorising it. It's slightly more difficult to factorise than expand, because we need to find a common factor that all the terms share. For example, 3x minus 15, we need to look at those numbers. Now the 3 and the 15 both share 3 as a factor, so that's what we write outside our bracket. Now we need to think about how do we get from 3 to both the terms in our expression. So first of all, we need to times it by something to get 3x. Well, to get from 3 to 3x, we'll need to times it by an x. So let's look at how we get to the second term now. We need 3 times something to equal minus 15. So 3 times what is minus 15? Well, that's going to be minus 5. So let's look at some more examples of this. So factorise the following completely. 7a plus 21. Well, look at these two numbers. We've got 7 and 21. Number they share as a factor is 7. I need to multiply 7 by something to get the first term, which is a, so I'll need to times that by an a. And then I need to times it by something to get plus 21. To get from 7 to 21, you need to times it by 3, so it will be plus 3. B, 11b minus 33. Again, look at the numbers. We've got 11 and 33, and the biggest factor they share is 11. Open bracket. Now to get to the first term, 11b, we'll need to times 11 by a b. And to get to the second term, well, to get from 11 to 33, we need to times it by 3. But this time, because we want minus 3, it's going to be minus 3. And finally, C, 6c plus 36. Well, if we look at the two numbers, there are actually quite a few factors these numbers share. You could have 2, 3, or 6. But the clue was in the question. It said factorise the following completely. That means you want the biggest number that's a factor of 6 and 36. And that will be 6. If this was an exam question and it was worth 2 marks, and you were to take either the 2 or the 3 out, you may be looking to get 1 mark, but ideally look for the biggest factor of both numbers. And as before, 6 times something needs to equal 6c, so I just need the c, and 6 times something needs to give me 36, well 6 times 6 is 36, and it's going to be plus. Okay, these are a little different, because we've got some letters now. So the first one, a, x squared plus x, there's no numbers involved, but if we look at the two terms, they've both got an x in them. So that's what we can take out. Now to get from x to x squared, we need to times it by an x. To get from x to plus x, well, you might think I don't really need to times it by anything. Well, you times it by 1. Because x times 1 would be x. There's just a few students up that, but x times 1 would give you x. Next one's a bit more complicated still, because we've got numbers and letters to look at. So we'll look at the numbers first. 2 and 4. Biggest number we can get from them is 2. Now look at the letters. We've got an x squared and an x, so they've both got an x. Now to get to the first term, to get from 2 to 2, we don't need to do anything, so I'm not going to have a number. But to get from x to x squared, I need to times it by an x. Now to the second term, well, to get from 2 to minus 4, I'm going to need a minus 2. And to get from x to x, well, I don't need anything. So the answer is 2x and then x minus 2. And finally, let's do one more. Again, we've got numbers and letters, so look at the numbers first. We've got 5 and 15. The biggest number they both share as a factor is 5. The first term's got x squareds and y, and the second term's got an x. So the only thing they do share is an x. And again, to get from the 5x to the first term 5x squared y, well, to get from 5 to 5, I don't need anything. To get from x to x squared y, well, I need an x to make it x squared, and I need a y to make it x squared y. And finally, to get to the second term, I need to get from 5x to 15x. So to get from 5 to 15, I need to times it by plus 3. And to get from x to x, well, I don't need to times it by anything. Well, I need to times it by 1, which just won't make any difference. So 5x, and then in brackets x, y plus 3.